Let me clarify it. It's not hard to buy land, but it's hard to buy the right piece of land for what you want to do with it. That is something I've learned. Every single parcel is so specific. You'll find a lot of really low priced lots, but you can't do anything with them. Or if they're unimproved, it's so not feasible to actually build. Half the time, it's cheaper to buy a parcel that already has a structure on it, knock down that structure and build something grand versus buying an unimproved parcel. So there's a few key things I tell my buyers to keep in mind when you're looking at land. Let's go through them. One is your intention. You have to know what your intention is, short and long term, before you start looking at land. Because if you just want something that's recreational that you can go and mountain bike on the property on the weekends, you have a lot of options. But if you know you eventually want to build your dream home on it, you're significantly limited to parcels that can support building. And there is a lot of undeveloped parcels in this area where the sellers have no idea if it's really buildable or not. And honestly, most of the time, the realtors also will not know. So the buyer really has to do their due diligence to make sure they're buying something that they can achieve their long-term goals on. The second thing is lot size. So in Santa Cruz County, if you do want to build eventually, even if it's not right now, the minimum lot size to support new septic tanks usually have to be at least an acre or more in lot square footage. If you're looking at an undeveloped parcel and you know you eventually want to build, you have to bring in infrastructure before you can physically build anything on it. Septic is number one in terms of the most expensive and the hardest infrastructure part to bring in. And the county is very, very strict on septic tanks. Aside from that, you've got your power, figuring out the water situation. Honestly, that is point number 3. So aside from lot size, then the infrastructure. Can it be brought in easily and feasibly? Or is that going to be a headache down the road? If that's the case, maybe look at something that already has infrastructure on it. There are lots of parcels out there for sale that were impacted by the CZU fire where there was previously a structure on it. So the infrastructure is still there. Number 4 is going to be access. Can you easily get onto the property? There are a lot of parcels out here where you have to drive over a neighboring parcel to actually access that one. So then you get into easements and encroachments, and how are the neighbors? Are they okay with you driving through their land? Even if you legally have an easement, maybe you have a kooky neighbor. You have to think about that. And I'd say number 5 would be the financing aspect of things. Can you actually buy a parcel outright in all cash? Or were you banking on getting a loan from the bank? Because lending on land is very different than lending on an actual structure. A lot of times, in order to get a land loan, you have to have the construction plan in place, and there's a certain time frame that you would have to complete work by for the bank to physically lend to you. If this is something you're not planning on building on right away, you probably won't be able to qualify with a land loan traditionally. So you might have to look at other means of financing. Could be a private party, can be a family member lending you money, could be the seller doing their own kind of financing. You have to think about that before you start shopping though, because that really ultimately will determine your budget as well. Those are the things I like to start with. Once you know the answers to those core considerations, I think that's when you're really ready to start shopping with land. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help kind of walk you through those points and make sure you're asking yourself the right questions. That's what a good realtor does for you. If you're looking at land, I hope you found this useful. I'm always here to keep that conversation going. Comment below whatever you think is the most important thing to consider when you're looking at land to purchase. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And subscribe to my channel for more real estate content. See you soon.